Howdy, and welcome to Astro Lunatic's Guide to the Universe. I am your hostess, your flight attendant on this celestial ride, Susan, also known as Astro Lunatic. I had a weird thought yesterday. I said to myself, when you're like 90 years old, will you still be referring to yourself as Astro Lunatic? And the answer was, hell yeah, I will be. I will always be a weirdo. I can't help it. I was born to be wild and weird. It's in my chart. I can't help it. When I first started learning astrology, I should say, when I first started teaching myself or relearning it, if you want to consider that I might have known it before in a previous incarnation, I was greatly relieved at the fact that I was born weird and there is a purpose to it all. Thank the heavens, it's in my stars. I can't help it. So it helped me to not judge myself. And I discovered a lot of things about myself through dissecting my own chart that I was aware of, but it's like the kind of thing where something doesn't really become conscious and enter into your conscious awareness until you hear it, until you hear words, until someone speaks it. Then it becomes a real thing. So I thought that was, really fascinating. I mean, I'm fascinated with weird stuff to begin with, and I like research. I like mysteries. I like just digging in the dirt. So of course, like I just I've, I've been digging ever since. Anyway, it's really nice to be here on this Tuesday afternoon or morning, wherever you are. And good morning to Lynn. Good morning, sunshine. Thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone, and I hope more people will filter in because I was a good girl today. I actually posted on my socials beforehand, um, just to see if we could get some more live action role play in the chat. I know how you all love role play. I I want us all to be friends and make more friends. And I like to bring people together. The funny thing about my friend group is with my Aquarius moon in the 11th house of friends, I, I choose people who are different than me. And I love the fact that they're different than me because I'm fascinated with people in general. And, you know, I am not a fan of homogenization. I like diversity. And I hate how diversity has been hijacked uh, and inverted and forced down our throat, which is just the antithesis of the Aquarian nature. So while I am a Capricorn, and you will hear me talk about that ad nauseum, I have two planets in Aquarius. So I am very, very Aquariary. And we're going to talk about that today because, no, we're not going to talk about me today. Well, we are because, at the end of the day, it's all about me. And it's all about you. And it should be all about us in our own specific lives. But we're going to talk about Aquarius because the moon is in Aquarius and it is 16 degrees and some minutes of Aquarius. And I just had my lunar return today because my moon is at 15 degrees of Aquarius. So I have a lot to say about this. And the fun thing about having an Aquarius moon is Aquarius rules the airwaves and, let's say, communications of an otherworldly manner. And I have a lunar twin who also has her natal moon at the same degree, exactly, almost to the minute as my Aquarius moon. And damn it, we are telepathic. I'm just here to tell you we're telepathic. I know I'm telepathic, but like, she and I have like radar love. It's kind of weird. It's weird, but like she's the only one that I trust to one of the few people I trust to read for me, for one. And when I wanted someone on the other side channeled, and I'm very cautious about speaking to the dead, but I trusted her to do it. And one of my ancestors from way, way back, a historical figure who I won't go into right now, appeared to her as a man of fire in her meditation one day during a ritual ceremony. And I said, "Girl, do you know he is related to me?" And it was so strange. Anyway, whatever. But that's our Aquarius moon. We're weird. We're weirdos, and I definitely fly that freak flag. So, you can't see it right now, but the thumbnail that I chose for the show is a picture, a photo from the 1950s. I believe it was the 50s, taken in Hollywood by a girl in the 50s. Anonymous. I don't know who she was, but I found it on archive.org because I was living in Hollywood. If you don't know, now you know. I lived in Hollywood for 3 years um, over the dark days of the Rona, and it was one of the funnest and weirdest experiences of my life. But while I was there, I discovered this photo, and you should look at it. I should post it online because it is me in the 50s taking a selfie with my fucking haircut, my little, bobbed hairdo with the Betty Page type bangs, and my cat eye glasses, which were clear crystal, and it fucking looks like me. It freaked me out, and it's just like so crazy because it's a selfie, but that would be the selfie I would be taking with her friend embracing some guy in the background, and me, I'd be looking at the camera like, I'm watching you. It's so crazy. It was just so weird, and it confirmed to me that I was returning to a place that I knew in another time period. I had a lot of well, you want to say deja vu, but really it's not. Memories, definitely soul memories of a past life there for sure. I swear. Smelling the fragrance of the flowers in the evening, one night walking on the east side of Hollywood. I was on my way to the Annie Besant Lodge because what I found out that there was a Theosophical Lodge right there. Of course, you know, I was on it and I don't know, I smelled the flowers one day and was transported and I'm like, yeah, I was here. And that was before I even found this picture. I swear, it was just fucking crazy. Anyway, enough about that. Let's talk about the weirdo Aquarius moon. And I if you're just joining me and Lynn, Lynn and I, Lynn is tripping out in the chat. Lynn, I have so many stories. I got so many weird fucking stories. You wouldn't even believe it. I should be writing a book. Okay. God, what do I need to talk about my dreams one of these days when it comes up. So the moon today at 16 degrees Aquarius is in the constellation Delphinus, the dolphin. And the star that the moon is conjunct today, also the star that my moon is conjunct. Actually, there's two of them. Let's go back a few degrees to 15. That would be the star Alnair in the constellation Grus, Grus, and that is the crane. And I find that, there's a few constellations that are indicated with a bird. And I have found that people who have planets and points in those constellations on those stars, um, definitely I see that they're very interested in augury, which is the art of divination through signs involving birds. So they're not just bird watchers, and it's not just for the birds, but this particular constellation, Grus, is known as a retiring, active, proud, watchful, kind, idealistic, and devoted nature with a liking for astronomy and astrology, of course, by default. And so that gives an idea of what the flavor of this degree, the star that influences this degree of Aquarius with this star, Alnair, in the constellation Grus. Looks like the right wing of the crane. So that's the degree that the moon just passed over. Now, at 16 and 17, well, let's say between 16 and 18 degrees, we have the stars Rotanev and Sualison, and those are located in Delphinus, the dolphin. And I think this is a very interesting story, and it gives you an idea of the weirdness that is Aquarius and these particular degrees in Aquarius. So, Delphinus being the dolphin, the word Rotanev, which is the star at 16, 17 degrees, and Soalisen at 17, 18 degrees. These stars were named for the strange names Alpha Solecin and Beta Rotanev first appeared for these stars in the Palermo catalog of 1814, and long were a mystery to all. It was discovered that it was discovered their origin by reversing the component letters and so reading Nicolaus Venator, the Latinized form of Niccolo Cacciatore, the name of the assistant and successor of the Italian astronomer Giuseppe Piazzi. So, Alpha is Solecin, which is Nicholas, spelled backwards. Beta is Rotanev, Venator. So, so think about these degrees and how it would give the characteristic of being backwards, upside down, and inside out, and just being topsy-turvy all around. Also, being the constellation of Delphinius, the dolphin has a it has so if you think about the way the dolphin jumps into the air, right? First, what it does is it goes super duper fast down into the ocean, turns around, and then gaining speed propels itself up into the air. So it's like it gets a running head start, so to speak. And it's this idea of going down really, really deep, right? And then coming back up, pushing through the water, through the consciousness, and gaining speed, and then jumping as far as you can into the air. And so if you think about that as the consciousness, in this way of going really deep and then turning around and surfacing and bursting and jumping magnificently as high as you can in the air. So metaphorically speaking, this is, the motion and the cycle of withdrawing, going within, tapping into our own consciousness, gaining wisdom, and the way that we can really, and this is just completely 100% the characteristics of Aquarius, where Aquarius likes to be alone, and I do this. This is what I do with my Aquarius moon and Mars. I have Mars too, but my Aquarius moon at these degrees, I need to be alone. I want to be alone. And the way that I clear my energy field, if you will, is to go off, be by myself, shut out the world. Like I need no interference from other people because I'm getting other people's stuff all day long. And so at the end of the day, this is the time for me. It's why I'm such a night owl. I'm clearing my stuff. I'm defragmenting my hard drive for the day. And I need that. I've always needed that. And when I realized that I was a better person for it, and I understood what I was doing, um, going within, contemplating, but needing to get it out before going to sleep, which is why I like to stay up late at night and when I've had trouble sleeping, it's because I'm like processing a lot. But so that's what I'm getting at with this nature of the dolphin, of needing to be a hermit, separate oneself. And that's why, Aquarius does sort of get its reputation for being kind of a fringe dweller, maybe an outcast, but not really because sort of by choice. Not gonna lie, I like being alone. A lot of people have not understood that about me and taken it as um, rejection or just didn't understand it. But that's Aquarius. We're weirdos. I consider myself an Aquarius. Very much so by nature. So that's where the moon is at today. Let's see. Those were the stars. I will check out what else is going on with the asteroids. Oh, by the way, for anyone who's just joining me, I am Astrolunatic, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have a Facebook page. Doesn't get a whole lot of play because they won't get any money from me. It's fine. It's whatever. But check me out, like on Twitter, and you're probably listening to this on YouTube, but I have a Rumble channel, and I will from time to time take my videos off of YouTube if I think they're too controversial. I will throw them up on Rumble. So I please go subscribe there because I'll be adding more content there. The stuff that I don't want to say can't say on YouTube because the overlords don't want us talking about certain things. And whatever. I like my channel. I mean, I don't give a crap about what anybody thinks about what I say, but I'm not trying to get canceled. But yeah, so check out on Rumble, Astro Lunatic. You can follow my channel over there. And also, I will be on Dave Cruz's show, Beyond the Strange. We recorded on Sunday, which is why I didn't have a show on Sunday, my normal noon o'clock show on Sunday, where I go over the weekly aspects. I didn't do it this week because I got up. Not, I didn't really get up early, but I started early, and we did a pre-recorded interview, um, which he's going to air on his channel, Beyond the Strange, on Wednesday. So I think that premieres at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific. Oh God, I should really check. Anyway, you go to beyondthestrange.com. He's got links. There's several different places where Dave streams his shows. And I've been a friend of the show for a long time. If you listen to Beyond the Strange, I've been on Dave's show many, many times. I love his show, and I mean, I love him and Russ. Well, Russ in absentia. Uh, he is still, he's like the ghost host. He's still a host. He comes back on. But anyway, I started doing their show, God, like 2 years ago, and we've always had fun and we become friends. So I've met a lot of friends through his show, and we support one another as we should in these YouTube streets, in these podcasting backways and alleyways. So I um I decided I was going to do a reading on on Elon Musk. And man, did we dig up some celebrity dirt. So this is the stuff that I do in my spare time, and I haven't really brought it out. I know I talk about it with my celebrity astrology, Hollywood stars, and my true crime investigations. Like, that's just the stuff that I eat for breakfast. I just haven't shared it a lot with the world, but you know, TMZ ain't got nothing on me. Let's just say, you know what I'm saying? I'm not bragging, but we had a really great time. I really loved this because I've seen Elon's chart before, and I was just like, whatever. He's just a dude. He just likes space shit. But when I really, really got into it, for the first time for Dave's show, I was like, wow, okay, I get it now. Because there's, I have my pet asteroids, and I like to look at those in event charts. I like to see, like, the what's going on basically with the planetary transits, in relation to what I'm observing, what's playing out like on the stage of humanity, right? And he's a character. All the world is indeed a stage. So I'm looking at these characters, and I really want to, I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. Like, I'm sticking the microscope up Elon's butt. So, don't miss that tomorrow. Dave live streams his pre-recorded interviews, so it will be streaming. So there will be a chat room, and I'll be in the chat. So go to Dave's channel, and you can subscribe and hit the bell so that you get notified. But when we go live, uh, yeah, it is 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, I'll be there. I'll be chatting. I'll be answering questions and fielding reporters' inquiries. Oh man. Yeah, I've been holding back on you guys. I've been holding back. But, everything is timing. Everything is timing. So I'm ready to bring this shit out. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. And he has an interesting chart. And when you hear the stars and the star markings and the asteroids that are very active in Elon's chart, then you'll know a little bit more about him, and that he seems to be living his chart pretty well, I think. I don't know. I just find him fascinating. Anyway, so let's talk a little bit more about the astrology. Uh, what's going on in Aquarius as far as the asteroids go? I like to look at that. I like to look at, well, I look at the asteroids when they are conjunct planets, because that's when the energy is playing out, like, really obviously. Otherwise, they're just in the background. I do count aspects because I do think they're important, but it's most prominent when a planet or the moon is conjunct an asteroid, and I like to see how that shows up, if at all. Let's see, Aquarius. So we've got asteroid Eros, which is retrograde at 13 degrees of Aquarius. So the moon would have passed over Eros about whew, 6 hours ago, because the moon takes about 2 hours per degree. So we've got asteroid Hygiea, which is a an asteroid goddess relating to health and healing. And then the moon at 1617. So that's it until the moon hits about 29-30 degrees when the moon will pass over Damocles, the sword of Damocles, which came up in Elon's reading. Oh, okay. Here's something interesting. So another astrologer had determined that his rising sign, by rectification of the chart, which is, I think, pretty accurate. The way I read Elon's chart, I would say that that is his rising degree of rising, 20 degrees of Aquarius. So the moon's going to pass over Elon's supposed potential probable ascendant at 20 degrees of Aquarius. Right now it's about 16, 17 degrees. Excuse me. And his Mars is in Aquarius also, which, if that is his ascendant, Mars on the ascendant is, can be kind of argumentative, but it's definitely a very assertive, very martial uh, energy with Mars on the ascendant. Um, and so the actions that he takes are very, in a sense, Aries, where it's just like you do what you're gonna do, and it's kind of like you think about yourself first, because Aries is the sign of the self, um, which can get him into a lot of conflict because he definitely does his own thing. And he's a maverick, right? Mars is like the explorer. That's like the cowboys in the Wild West going to conquer, you know. Uh, and he is a pioneer. That's the word I'm looking for. A pioneer, but in Aquarius, that's all about technology, space travel. So what is he doing? I wonder if he's going to announce something interesting because the moon's on his ascendant. So he is definitely coming out in a different way. So pay attention, see what happens. If there's something that comes up with the Elon, but I'll tell you what's coming up with the Elon. It's my interview with Dave tomorrow. So whatever we're talking about, I wonder if there's some kind of news. I wonder if there's Elon news. So that's an interesting sinky dinky. Oh, no. The actual point that I was getting at is that he has asteroid Damocles, the sword of Damocles, hanging over his Mars. So, that's the idea of uh, heavy is the head that wears the crown, the responsibilities and things hanging over your head in a more metaphorical sense. But um, it's the fact that when you're at the top, there's plenty of people who would be happy to see the sword fall upon you, which is a precarious place to be. And they're waiting for your demise. There's plotting and planning against you when you are in a position of of authority, responsibility, public, you know, public exposure, being in the public eye and having a lot of people judging what you're doing. There's the risk of assassination or losing your head or just, being your own worst enemy, kind of sabotaging, perhaps, or people plotting against you. So, yes, that's why Damocles was kind of interesting. So, later on overnight, Damocles and Crantor, which is another asteroid, the moon will be passing over just before leaving Aquarius and entering into Pisces. So Crantor is a centaur, and it is, I won't go too much into it, but it can be known for sudden endings. So that's an interesting thing. Um, and it is sort of a contentious energy. So yes, it'll be contentious out there for someone who has something at the last degrees of Aquarius. Yes. All right. So I didn't get to do a weekly overview, so I'll skim through quickly through the aspects that are going on. We already have Mars in Libra. Mars entered Libra over the weekend on Saturday, and that's a shift in our actions and our how we assert ourselves. We have to be more diplomatic now. So, Mars in Virgo, I noticed, was really not holding back on the attacks. It was just the criticism just oh, the criticism was off the charts. Um, so Mars in Libra is going to be probably a little bit more passive aggressive because Libra is not overtly aggressive, so Mars has to behave, but he's not super happy. It's like, all right, what do I have to do to keep the peace? So things to watch for is, you know, if you're getting frustrated, it might be because you're trying too hard to keep things balanced, or you resent having to go along to get along. Um, but definitely the peace negotiations uh, will be very important and in focus. We still have the sun in Virgo opposing Saturn in Pisces. So we have been looking at what our restrictions are and how will we be restricted. The boundaries are still sort of unknown, and that's the nature of Saturn in Pisces. Not really knowing where the boundaries are, but we could be dealing with some um, maybe some fear with Saturn in Pisces that could be probably overblown because Pisces, the imagination tends to run away with us, and Saturn brings fears, restrictions, obstacles. But, if we use this Saturn for uh, maybe um, just making some hard decisions, because Saturn is responsibility, maturity, it rules austerity. So I think there's a vague sense that we need to maybe pull back, tighten our belts, perhaps. Um, there's a vague sense of fear because Pisces is sort of undefinable, and Saturn needs to define. So if you don't really know what it is that you're feeling, you can tend to maybe imagine like the worst of the worst. So uh don't go there. Um be responsible. If you think that uh things are going to get difficult, do the damage control now. I was talking the other day about finances, okay? Because Venus and Jupiter squaring, actually, I tweeted this. Um, Venus in retrograde and square to Jupiter in Taurus could be a financial turnaround. And when planets change direction, going from direct to retrograde, let's say, or retrograde to going direct, when they station, there's a reversal. So uh, that Venus square to Jupiter, I could say, is probably a reversal of fortune in some respects, or just a reversal of the situation. And even today, because the moon is opposite Venus, which is, it's not just money, but it's love and money, two sides of the same Venus coin. The moon is opposite Venus from Aquarius, and it is squaring to Jupiter. Okay, so the outlet is the opposite side of Jupiter in Scorpio. So if you have anything in the middle degrees of Scorpio, right? I mean, Scorpio, it's going to definitely want to withdraw and protect itself. So it also deals with fear. And Jupiter is going to be going retrograde the same day that Venus turns direct. So I do think that prices could start going up, and a lot of people could be feeling that with the sun being opposite to uh, Saturn, being austerity. And we're also looking at issues regarding health. Y'all know what that is. So, do I think it's going to be as bad as, they're always predicting it to be? No, I absolutely don't. I see both realities existing simultaneously at once. And so the key here is, where are you going to keep your focus? You know, we can imagine the worst case scenario, but we can also imagine the best case scenario. And maybe that doesn't happen exactly, but our consciousness will work back from there. Trust me. Definitely. Cup half full, not half empty, and things can go any way. Let's say the game board is being tipped, the pieces are in the air, and they could land anywhere. So the future's up for grabs. Don't let the media define for you what your future will be. I've always said my economy is only improving. My economy has improved just incrementally and steadily over many years. So, also how I've defined my economy, my personal economy, um, I've defined it very specifically. So, anyway, um, yep, that's the way to manifest. See all potentials, and then put your chips on the best and most interesting. Things are interesting these days, and ever since the new moon, everything is a wild card because the new moon, let's see, the new moon was at 25 degrees of Leo, squaring to Uranus. Uranus is a wild card. Things can go either way, both ways, and sideways, and inside out and upside down. This is what I'm telling you guys on this Aquarius moon. And so, there's good fortune to be had. You just have to find it. And it's all in the perception. It's all in your definition. So redefine your future, redefine your present, redefine your past. The stories that we tell ourselves about where we've come from and where we're going, where we've been. We're not going to be there again. So yeah, anyway, I love weird. Weird is wonderful. I love it when things are crazy because that means that there's like chaos. Chaos magic, honeys. Get down with it. Um, I just love it. I love change. I love like radical improvements and changes, and I don't know. I get bored with the sameness and the safeness. I like adventure. I like a challenge. So that's a good thing to think about on this Aquarius moon. And moon will be in Aquarius tomorrow. We do have a full moon coming this week. So today's Tuesday. Today is the 29th. The numerology for the day is 8. The date reduces to an 8 on Tuesday. And moon in Aquarius is waxing. So we're still growing. The moon's growing in energy, and the moon makes a square today to Jupiter, which is expansion, excess, big opportunities, guys. And then a square to Uranus. So there's something brewing today. I feel like there's big moves coming in regard to the financial stuff. Again, your economy is personal. Don't don't Okay, so you know how like we peg the price of oil to the dollar, right? Don't peg your economy, your personal economy to the world economy. Okay? Don't do it. Don't do it mentally, emotionally, and actually. So there's a lot of ways that you can make money and save money and invest money, and the financial structure of our world is changing. So educate yourself about digital currency. Don't avoid it because you think it's the mark of the beast. There is so much out there in terms of technology that's just, it's here, but it's not being implemented. And, you know, of course, there's a dark side to technology. There's a dark side to Aquarius. Aquarius and Uranus rule technology, digital, everything. But our digital world is changing, and in ways that, unless we start to educate ourselves about it, um, we won't know how to take advantage of it. So I suggest not avoiding it because you're afraid of it. Um, it's not all dark. And so, there's very, very good ways of using these particular technologies and even digital currency. And it's not the scary thing that everyone thinks it is. So, yes, so I would say that there's big changes happening. And when Jupiter goes retrograde on September 4th and Venus goes direct, we probably will have a better idea of what's going on, what kind of changes, what kind of announcements, the big stuff that's going on. So let's see what kind of news we hear around the 4th. But tomorrow's the full moon, which is in Pisces. So tomorrow we're going to be dealing with that sense of, well, for some it will be a sense of impending doom, but it is just a feeling. Remind yourself of that. But the best use of it is where we are maybe clear about our boundaries, or our responsibilities from a on a spiritual level. That's Pisces. Deal with your fears, deal with your self-sabotage, and how are you restricting yourself? How are you keeping yourself from your goals? What are your goals? You got to define them. You got to know what the target is so you can hit it, right? Um, I think that there could be an air of sobriety about this moon, whether in terms of addictions and substances and sobriety, but sobriety, in a sense of maturity and obligation, of responsibility, tests of our integrity, um, people testing our boundaries, all kinds of things like that could come up. I didn't think about this before, but tomorrow's full moon in Pisces conjunct Saturn, the planet of restrictions and fear and contraction, right? It's atrophy, it's entropy, it's atrophy, it's aging. Um, I'm also looking at, because it's an opposition between the Sun and Saturn, it is the breaching of boundaries and borders too. But also in terms of, if we're looking at it from a health perspective, what has breached the barrier? The barrier being our immune system, I guess. So that could have to do with viruses and pathogens and whatnot, and also restrictions in terms of health. You know what we're talking about. They're talking about the masks and more lockdowns and whatever. So that's going to be heavy in the air. Uh, you know, uh, Health crises, crisis of conscience too, in the sense of Saturn being responsibilities and people who are supposed to be responsible for guarding our health, our borders, or whatever. Well, we're really ultimately responsible for our health, but people in terms of authority and government, that's Saturn too. So a lot of that'll be going on. But the other thing that I just noticed is that Saturn and the full moon are going to be at 7, 8 degrees of Virgo, which is not exactly opposite Saturn. Saturn is at 3 to 4 degrees in retrograde, which makes it very strong because it's in retrograde and going back to, like, what are we not trying to go back to? We're not trying to go back to the days of the Rona, the dark days of the dirty Rona. So there's that coming up at the full moon tomorrow. But Saturn is on the star Fomalhaut. I never know how to say these things. Fomalhaut, which is one of the 4 fixed stars representing the 4 archangels and the 4 directions that they guard, the angels that guard the four corners. So Fomalhaut is in the constellation Pisces Austrinus, which is not Pisces. This is the southern fish, and the degree of Fomalhaut is 4 degrees of Pisces. So let's look at that star for a second, shall we? Fomalhaut, from the Arabic fum al-hut, is the fish's mouth, and has long been the common name for the star. And so it's not part of the constellation of Pisces, but it is the constellation of Pisces Austrinus, the southern fish. Okay, so this particular star, like I said, is related to one of the archangels, one of the 4 royal stars, the guardians of the heavens, which are Aldebaran, Fomalhaut. Aldebaran is in the Watcher of the East, and that is Archangel Michael. Gabriel is Fomalhaut, Watcher of the South. That's Archangel Gabriel, who blows the horn, right? Gabriel is the announcer, blowing the horn. Raphael, the healing archangel, is Regulus, Watcher of the North. Uriel is Antares, Watcher of the West. So this star resonates to the energy of Archangel Gabriel. So that's something to look at. What else can we read about the Archangel and the star Fomalhaut? Sorry, I'm reading. If you're interested in the fixed stars, I refer a lot to the website constellationofwords.com, where you can read a lot about the stars and the constellations and the history and the mythology and the archetypes and even the etymology, which is just fascinating to me. I love that stuff. Okay, so according to ancient astronomy, Ptolemy gives no separate influence and describes Fomalhaut, but according to Bayer, I guess another astrologer, the constellation is of the nature of Saturn, said to have an influence similar to Pisces, but in addition to augment the fortunes. So it's a fortunate star. We're talking about the fixed stars, yes, but there are some very special fixed stars, among them these 4 fixed stars of the archangels that I just mentioned are royal stars. And then there's a group of stars called the Behenian fixed stars, which were used, they were the most prominently used and considered to be fortunate and used in magic in ancient astrology, but the Behenian fixed stars. So you can look those up if you like, if you find that interesting. More astrological influences. It's the fish's mouth, the Watcher of the South, because it marks the winter solstice. Very fortunate and powerful star, yet it can cause malevolence of a sublime scope and character. So it's not an obvious, it's a very subtle influence. Um, let's see. Cause malevolence of sublime scope and character and change from a material to a spiritual form of expression. That's interesting. On the ascendant and in good aspect, tradition has it that this star will make for fame and a name remembered forever. So I know somebody with this star on their midheaven. I won't tell you who it is, but he listens to this show, so he will know that I have read for him before, and I've told him you have angelic presence around you, specifically Gabriel, uh, and Gabriel is watching over this person's midheaven. So, very interesting. With Saturn there, of course, that brings tests, but Saturn rewards hard work. And let me tell you, this person is working really hard and being consistent and doing what he's supposed to be doing. So I feel like when Saturn goes direct again on that person's midheaven, he'll be reaping the rewards. And this star is known for bringing fame and a name remembered forever. So that's pretty cool. I will be watching that play out. A conjunction with Jupiter or on the midheaven will bring favor from dignitaries of the church. So, spiritual favor. I mean, if you're religious and you're, pursuing ecclesiastical type things, then that might apply. But looking at it in a broad spiritual sense, I would interpret this as um, higher celestial beings, guides, angels watching over a person and being protected and favored because you're doing God's work. God's work, in quotes. So it's a very important star. So this full moon is everything that I've just described. There will be things playing out where you will see some people having great successes, but others will be brought down because the nature of Saturn is to reward those doing the difficult, heavy lifting, spiritually speaking, in Pisces. But because this is a very powerful star, uh, it can be malevolent. So all of these fixed stars uh, they can go either way. So again, this sort of reversal of fortune that I've been talking about with the coming astrology and the shifting of retrograde planets from direct to retrograde and from retrograde to direct. So I think there's a lot of potential upside if you can stay on the sunny side and don't, if you find yourself feeling fearful or depressed or frustrated because there seems to be limitations from beyond your control, just remember that things are sometimes delayed because it's not about the destination. It is about the journey, and we're learning so much. So many very important things that are really for the mining of the spiritual gold and personal alchemy. Anyway, going back to the star Fomalhaut, um, according to the astrological contact with Saturn, it says, ugh, accidents it can bring. Accidents, ailments affecting the lungs, the throat, the feet, loss through enemies, friends, mercurial affairs, bands, and companies. Wrongfully accused. Saturn can be the scapegoat. Saturn is the scapegoat in terms of being martyred, being wrongfully accused. So, yeah, that will be out there. Interesting. Wrongfully accused. Uh, hmm. I'm thinking about that in some true crime cases where the court case is going on, and it's interesting how the perspective has flipped, that it is possible that somebody could have been wrongly accused. Anyway, okay, affairs involved at the end of life. That's Saturn, because Saturn rules, death and entropy. Okay, sudden death and family cheated out of their rights. Huh, very interesting. I wonder what this will be. Watch the news. Please, definitely, if you see anything in the news that resonates to anything that I've been talking about, please, 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 please tag me, message me, bring it to my attention so that we can all, share in the revelation of the stars and the full moon exposure, because things come to a head and get exposed at the full moon. Things that were in the shadows of the moon, the unconscious, the subconscious, the subplots can be exposed at the full moon. So, this should be interesting. Definitely keep me in the loop, guys, so we can decode this mystery together. So yeah, we have the full moon tomorrow. 8 degrees of Pisces. If you have any planets at 8 degrees, specifically of Pisces, Virgo, where the sun will be, uh, Gemini and Sagittarius, those signs would be either conjunct, opposite, or squaring the full moon for you. I feel like it's going to be water signs and earth signs that will have the most potential to use this for your advantage. And to be able to purge is a good thing. Purging and organizing and detoxing from substances or toxins, improving your health, a very, very good thing. If you detox with the moon, by that I mean in the waning phase, because our bodies are so affected by the moon, in the waxing phase, we tend to absorb things. So that's a great time to take in as much vitamins and minerals and healthy, supportive things that you can. And then from the full moon to the next new moon, where the moon is waning, the body just naturally releases. So, dieting, exercise, detoxification will be much more, uh, um, should we say, you'll get more bang for your buck. It's very much supported, and it'll be just easier to do at this time. So, starting any kind of exercise, diet regime, or detoxification. Now, what did we just say about Saturn on this star? Elements affecting the lungs, the throat, and the feet. So, in any way that you can target these areas and detox will help you um, in terms of whatever may be coming around the bend. So you can just Google 3-day lung detox, throat. I associate the thyroid with the throat too. I don't know if that is correct, but I'm going to go with that. Uh, you know, the throat and the breathing, the throat chakra, anything that you can do to cleanse the throat chakra, that is a good thing to do at this time. Um, the feet, that makes me think of ionic foot baths and putting putting things on your feet can, the feet are absorbers of energy. So putting your feet on the ground and grounding, rubbing essential oils mixed with oil. Know if those feet actually work, but that comes to mind. I had a, I owned an ionic foot bath, and I couldn't find any kind of science or studies to actually support that it works, but I will tell you that it worked for me. I don't know whether it's the electrical charge that runs through the electrodes, through the water, and to your feet. Um, Not really sure. But the water turns all gunky, and they say that those are the toxins and the metals leaving your body. And I don't really know. All I know is I felt fabulous. So if you can get yourself into an ionic foot bath, I knew somebody who used to make them. I think he still does. And so I bought one, and then I ended up selling it because I wanted to use it for people, and I did, and they reported good results. But I mean, you definitely feel different. You definitely feel better, so it's got to be doing something. So anyway, the feet, foot massage, uh, acupressure points on your feet. Those are some things to look at. So, in terms of mitigating the Saturn difficulties on this star, uh, these things are favored. These things are supported. So, we're not just at the mercy of the planets. There are antidotes, and antidotes to Saturn. Uh, you can use the metal that is related to Saturn, which is lead. I don't know. You don't find too much around. But um uh so yeah, I mean, I think of lead, I think of heavy metal poisoning again. Chelation EDTA chelation IV is supposed to be the best, but there are suppositories. Yeah, I know. It's like, oh, who wants to stick it up your butt? But it really, really works. These are things that you could be doing from now until the next um, new moon. And I know Lynn mentioned in the chat doing uh, using a product that cleanses parasites, fungus, bacteria, and candida for 12 days. That is super huge. That's really great because I feel like everything is detox is everything. Like, I don't care how many like herbal capsules and teas and good things you put in your body, but if you can't absorb it because you're too toxic and your organs of detoxification are not working properly, that includes the colon. Okay, uh, Virgo rules the small intestine, and that's where all of your absorption comes in. And if your colon is dirty and backed up with a bunch of parasites and fungus and yeast and yada yada, uh, you're not getting the nutrition that you need. So I I'm all for detoxification in all forms. I think that, oh, cool. Lynn says in the chat, reflexology. She was trained to be a reflexologist. I heard a guy speaking about doing reflexology on someone who was in a coma. Um, and I can't remember the name of his channel. Otherwise, I would give him a plug. But what he did was he pressed the points in between, like in between the fingers and the toes. This person came out of their coma, and it's known to revive the vitality of the body and to sort of reset the meridians, right? It's all about the energy pathways in the body. Those are our own personal ley lines. And when there's blockages, we experience health problems. So, blockages, yeah, in the colon, pooping is essential, as Liz says. It is. I've used a product for years from a company called AIM. Um, it's called Fiber Blend, Herbal Fiber Blend. So it has psyllium fiber in it, but it is full of herbs that stimulate the organs of detoxification and thereby emptying the toxins into the colon, which a lot of people don't realize. If you're not cleaning your colon, you might as well just give it up. You're wasting your money because by the time the toxins get released from, like, let's say the liver, right, and through the kidneys, well, not the kidneys because that's urine, but uh, you start to stimulate your body to release these toxins, and then they have nowhere to go because they get stuck right back in your colon again, and they get reabsorbed back up into your body, which can cause a tremendous amount of damage. Meanwhile, you thought you were doing good, by drinking your little yogi detox tea. Au contraire. So, these are some really good things to start doing, um, starting with this full moon, because, like I said, the body naturally puts off toxins, throws off toxins in the waning moon. So, very, 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 very importante. So, yeah, Virgo Pisces axis is all about the health and the removal of poisons from the body, poisons and whatnot, represented by Pisces. So also, Saturn and Pisces, we're talking about being able to reverse Saturn, as Saturn is retrograde, reverse aging. I've done many detoxes, and let me tell you something. The first time I did a detox, first of all, I went on a short-term vegetarian diet. I was never completely vegetarian or vegan, but I was eating less meat. I never intended to, like avoid meat entirely and be vegetarian. That was never my intention. But I just did instinctively what I felt my body needed. And eating more raw foods, um, whatever, fruits and vegetables, less meat, less, no processed food, just like the healthiest um, vegetables and grains and oils, nuts and seeds, um, as unprocessed and unfiltered as possible, and as little meat. I mean, I ate meat when I wanted it. So within a few months, my body had changed completely. I ended up bumping into my own cousin with my parents. She stopped to talk to my parents, and I'm standing there, and I'm like, she. And then I realized she didn't even know who I was. She did not even recognize me. That's how much I changed. And uh, I felt I felt like $1,000,000, and um, I looked younger. I felt younger. So that's what detoxing and fasting, juice fasting. Oh my God, I did it all. Enemas. I did it all at home, and it did reverse. It reversed a lot of the health issues I was having. I started to heal my leaky gut stuff. Um, so I cannot I just can't even I can't say enough about it in terms of healing of the body and reversing disease and aging. So I don't know. Am I violating the YouTube terms now? The new ones are you're not allowed to give any whatever blah 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 advice, blah 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 medical, blah 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 health, blah blah blah. Um, whatever. Who cares? Um, yeah. So, I mean, I won't get thrown off immediately, right? One, two, three strikes and you're out. It's just so hard for me to shut up. Can't do it. Uh, so anyway, this is a fantastic full moon for this. Work with the moon, guys. Um, I like to focus on the body part that is represented by the sign that the moon happens to be in and the planetary transits that the moon is going through. So, tomorrow and so Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday is the full moon tomorrow. Wednesday and Thursday, the moon is in Pisces until Friday because the moon spends about 2.5 days. So the next 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we're talking about Pisces. So that's the feet. You can focus on your feet until the moon goes into Aries on Friday, in the middle of the day, Friday, let's say, roughly. I think it's about noon here on the East Coast, so late morning. But on the West Coast, it would be like all day Friday, let's say. So the moon will be in Aries for 2.5 days. So September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, part of the 3rd, but most of the 3rd it'll be in Taurus. So when the moon is in Aries, Friday, what is it? Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Hang on, I gotta reverse. So Wednesday, Thursday, Pisces, Friday, Aries. Aries is the head. Aries is the blood and the muscles and reducing inflammation, because Aries and Mars is inflammation. So focusing on inflammation, I would say it's probably a good day to eat meat, because Mars and Aries is the blood and muscles and flesh. So I don't know. You don't have to eat meat if you don't want to, but building the blood is a good thing. You can look at what can build your blood. If you need herbal recommendations for how to boost, the oxygen in your blood, right? Parsley is a great blood purifier, detoxifying the blood. So we're focusing on the blood, building the blood. A lot of cultures eat the blood, right? There's blood sausage. So whatever it is, you know, don't be a vampire. We're not talking about that, but if you are, no judgment. Um, so that's hang on, losing track. Thursday. Okay, so Friday is Aries, Saturday is Aries, into Sunday. Most of Sunday is the moon in Taurus. Taurus rules the neck. And I want to say the thyroid. I think it is, but I'd have to go back and look. Um, let's see. Taurus. Taurus tends towards a rich diet and sedentary. Um, I don't know. I would say, really kind of getting out and being in nature and maybe walking, hiking in the woods. Taurus is an earth sign, so it really needs to connect to the earth. Um, Taurus, the sign of Taurus is the physical body in general, so um, getting a massage. God, Taurus loves getting a massage. Neck massages. So if you do tapping, I know there's tapping points that would relate probably to the neck and thyroid and the throat chakra. That's Taurus. Um, during these times when the moon is in particular signs, you can also implement the stones that resonate with that sign or the colors. So when the moon is in Aries, you can, incorporate some red. Taurus, with the earth signs, you can use earth tones, but um, Taurus's color is green. Green is the throat chakra. Well, no, blue. I'm sorry. It's blue, and blue is the throat chakra. So anything having to do with that and that area of the body. And so that's Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, the moon in Taurus is it will be conjunct Jupiter in Taurus, so Jupiter will be retrograde by that time, and we will be focusing on our stability and our comfort, but maybe it's time to get moving and shaking. So maybe it's time to do some, you know, learning and educating yourself, because that's Jupiter, regarding money, finances, stability, creating wealth. You know, when it comes to Taurus, that's the long term, like our long term gains. And also, Taurus deals with physical resources and commodities, also prices. So your financial health you could be focusing on. But that's the throat chakra is about clairaudience. Now, you wouldn't think so because you think of the ears, but the inner ear is located in the throat. And so it is a two-way street where the you want to free and open your throat chakra so you can speak and prophesy, but it's also about receiving information. So when that's shut down and we're not able to speak or we are afraid to speak, it blocks the flow of energy. And this does relate to our finances and our physical stability. So thinking about maybe some affirmations regarding your personal economy. I love to talk to myself about my economic forecast. I'm predicting my own future. So, affirmations are a great way to exercise that throat chakra. Doing it out, you know, internally is good. Um, Mantras and toning, if you do that. Um, but those affirmations are really, really, really positive. They're very, very supportive, and they do work because you're reprogramming your subconscious. Uh, there's an audiobook on YouTube by Florence Scovel Shinn, and I want to say, I don't remember. God, I don't remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up. But it's all about affirmations and how she used to help people change their circumstances by I'm looking it up, by creating um, their own mantras, their own affirmations, and how they were able to manifest the things in their life and healing. Here we are. Florence Scovel Shinn. That's SCOVELSHINN. So, a few of them. Uh, what you say affects your life. The power of the spoken word. This was like written in like 1920s or 30s or something like that. Uh, let's see. There's a ton of stuff. There's affirmations coming from her book, The Magic Path of Intuition, Secret Door to Success. What else? Um, your word is your wand. So, while I believe in coming up with your own affirmations, uh, it works well also to use affirmations. And she explains the philosophy and the psychology behind the affirmations. And yeah, I mean, I've used this practice and this concept in my own life, and it works. So you could be doing that over the weekend with the moon in Taurus and uh, whatever else outdoor activities, physical stuff, and maybe you need to lounge around. Maybe you need to slow down. Taurus is slowing down, and that could be really great, very therapeutic, or go get a massage or whatever. Do something beautiful. You know, I've been avoiding going on a shopping spree and buying a whole new wardrobe while Venus has been retrograde. But this day, September 4th, and Ugh, I always lose track of the day. All right, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So by next Monday, Venus is going direct and making changes to our public image and branding and our, um, you know, Venus related things, aesthetics, wardrobe, hair, whatever it is, our looks and how to present ourselves. We can start moving forward again when it comes to that. But also financially, there's going to be a shift because, like I said, Jupiter is going in reverse. So let me know how that goes for everybody. That's Monday. So that's September 4th. So the big events are the 30th. We've got the full moon conjunct Saturn, and really it's not until next Monday that Venus goes direct and Jupiter goes retrograde. But I think we'll feel it. We tend to feel these things before they happen. So Venus will still be retrograde, let's say September 2nd on the weekend. We might really get inspired and feel really spunky because the moon in Aries is going to be making a trine to Venus. So relationships, reconnecting with people. The Venus retrograde has, it's kind of sparked a nostalgia, but like a new passion for certain projects, for people, for certain relationships, or maybe to feel ready to make a change in a relationship, an existing one, or find a new one. But part of the whole process of finding a new one was sort of, I guess, reasserting ourselves or repackaging. Maybe we weren't happy with our physical attraction level. So we wanted to make ourselves a little bit more sexy. But we could start moving forward with that kind of thing when Venus goes direct. So any kind of major changes in our look, or definitely no like cosmetic stuff, it's not really favored. It's more of an internal thing. Venus going retrograde is going inside and saying, how do I feel about myself? How do I feel? Like, if I don't feel good enough to put myself out there, then thinking about what changes we can make, or thinking about our past relationships and the need for healing before we go back out there and think that we can maybe give it another shot. So I think that is winding down. And it looks like we have an elf in the chat room. Hi, Pat. Elf knows his stones. Let me tell you, he does. So, yeah. So Pat says, I got a green, black, and a rainbow moonstone. He's always prepared. Oh, yeah. King Harvest dancing in the moonlight. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that song. That's an oldie but a goodie. Very, very good. Moonstones. Sleep with your moonstones. That's a really great idea, Pat. Yeah, because the moonstone obviously resonates to the moon. And another thing, we could have some really wild dreams around this full moon. Pisces stuff always brings the dreams. Pisces is in my 12th house anyway, and with Saturn and Neptune there, when Neptune went into my 12th house, oh my God, my dreams were just crazy. It unlocked my dream world because I had not remembered my dreams. Like, I mean, I had dreams when I was a kid, and I still remember those reoccurring dreams that I would have, and they were always strange, but I was always like, I never, like, I didn't dream for the longest time. And then, boom, all of a sudden, oh my God, I started having like really, really wild dreams. And I tend to dream about people, uh, because I have 12th house planets and placements. Um, I knew from studying my astrology chart that my dream life was very active. So I was like, what the heck is going on in my dreams? Um, I knew I was doing stuff. I just didn't know what. But then when I started remembering my dreams, I realized, like I always I knew from astrology that I was visiting people, that I was very active in the astral, connecting with other people and doing work. And when I started remembering my dreams, then I was like, oh wow, this is what I'm doing. This is crazy. I've had people tell me that they've dreamt about me and I've given them advice in their dream. I had one friend tell me I did a reading for her, an astrological reading for her in her dream, but all she could really remember was I said, watch the cycles of the moon. And I told her that things were going to get difficult, that she was going to encounter some problems. And I thought when she told me that, I was like, "Oh God, I don't even want to look at the chart." Like I didn't want to think anything bad would happen to her or her kids, or anything. She just had this like wonderful, beautiful, charmed life, and I just I didn't even want to do a reading for her. I'm glad she didn't ask me. But I gave her that advice in a dream, and then I saw on social media, like we weren't really close, but I saw on social media she did make an announcement that she was having some health issues, and I thought, "Oh my God, she owns a business, she's got a family, she's doing so well." But I think that she is doing well, but she was diagnosed with something. I don't even remember what it was, but it's just crazy. So I know I've been doing stuff. I've had a really weird dream life over the past 10 years. I think it's been more than 10 years that my dreams have started opening up, and one day on my podcast I will probably talk about some of those dreams. I keep threatening to just spill all the tea. I just like I don't know. I've got some interesting stories to tell, especially when it has to do with dreams, but I don't know. It'll come out when the time's right. So that could be happening during this time with the dreams. Very, very possible. Uh you know, I like to talk to myself. And you can do this too. You can program yourself to remember your dreams, or you want to like work something out in the dream state. The Silva method is really good for this. I have the recordings on CD. Uh, Actually, I downloaded it into my iTunes. But you know, there's a lot of other stuff out there. You can listen to meditations if you want to remember your dreams. You want to program yourself to work something out in the dream state. Uh, so, you know, it's, hey, we're asleep for like a long time at night, you know, and I don't like to waste time. Might as well use that time productively. But you're gonna do it anyway. I mean, we do it. That's what we do. But you know, after the dreams that I've had, I am firmly convinced that we are living, definitely living lives on the astral, where, you know, the dream state where we go is we go into the astral, and there's a lower astral where I think that it resonates to our frequency. So if we have to work out some stuff, some negative things, we go into the lower astral, or if we're in fear or lower dense consciousness, that's where we might end up. But there are other levels of the astral where I believe we connect with one another and we could be like our teachers and our guides. And, people talk about spirit guides, but I think we are guides for one another. And there are people who are doing this on a regular basis in the astral, um, working and healing and doing all kinds of fun stuff. Uh, so, you know, after some of the experiences that I've had, I am convinced that our spirit guides can be people that are alive, that are here, but they're working on that level. They may or may not be aware of it. And yeah, so it's a lot of fun. I was really blown away when I started remembering my dreams. It really made me happy because I felt like so cheated. I'm like, what the hell? I don't get to have any fun. Wah. Okay, guys. I'm going to start wrapping it up now. There's not a whole lot going on really in terms of the astrology for the week. I'm sorry I missed Sunday because I want to start doing those live call-ins. Um, And so I guess, I'll be doing that um, probably next Sunday. Uh, but really, the big action over the past, I don't know, from the weekend or so, it was really the sun opposing Saturn. So that could be kind of a heaviness. Even the full moon can feel a little heavy, or sobering with that Saturn. We've still got Mercury retrograde. Mercury's still moving pretty slow. It really won't make an aspect. Like, it stopped just short of making a trine to Uranus in Taurus. Mercury has been traveling with the asteroid Pallas Athena. So there is that sort of, feminine warrior energy and strategizing and planning when it comes to our routines and our health and our habits, our daily life, our pets also, because Virgo does rule pets, and our health in general, our mental health because it's Mercury, our speech, the way we talk to one another. So in terms of Mercury retrograde, I've seen a lot of accidents because that is the influence of Uranus on Mercury. Um, and Mercury is also making an inconjunct to Chiron in Aries, which is, wounding, healing, accidents, especially in Aries. Mars ruled. Mars having been opposite Neptune, not paying attention, drugs, influences. So, in terms of the Mercury retrograde, all right, we're going to see some health stuff come up on the 30th because that's the exact aspect in conjunct to Chiron. Probably have to do with again, the issues of individual choice and freedom when it comes to health. Then Mercury will continue retrograde until the next aspect that it makes, which is a trine to Jupiter, also on September 4th. Guys, September 4th, mark it on your calendar. This is a big day. You could have a breakthrough. You could, you know, you could use this very positively and very productively. It's very uh It's good for, grounded, practical stuff, like your day-to-day mundane stuff, um, in terms of streamlining things. But there could be news because it's Mercury and it's retrograde, trining Jupiter. So it can be financial, it can be legal because that's Jupiter also. And the moon is going to be there. So the moon and Jupiter contacting Mercury and soon the sun. So there, let's say, pay attention to the news. This is what I do with when it comes to Mercury retrograde. The most important days are when Mercury is making an aspect. So I'm giving you the important days. So the 30th, right? That was Chiron and Mercury. Then we've got the 4th, very important. We've got the moon and Jupiter. Travel in terms of long distance, because that's Jupiter is Sagittarius ruler, and that rules airlines. This is colleges, higher education, um, and we know what's going on, right? They want to bring it back. Uh, Mercury, health, there's some kind of news announcement, so watch the 4th. Uh, what else could this possibly be? Could be financial. Maybe the health of a leader, because the sun is a few degrees off of the conjunction to Mercury, and the sun is leader, and Mercury and Virgo is health and an announcement. So the 4th, then we've got the 6th. So on the 6th, Mercury is going to be exactly conjunct the sun with its retrograde at 14 degrees of Virgo, making a trine still to Jupiter. Jupiter has just gone retrograde. What are we reversing? Okay, so we could be reversing when it comes to travel, air travel, international. Jupiter, we look at Sagittarius and planes, and laws. Jupiter and Sagittarius is legal stuff, um, and higher education. So college level education. Uh, but it could be elementary also, because by that time the moon will be in Gemini. And Gemini is elementary, lower level education. Its opposite sign, Sagittarius, is higher level, college education. Also, religious institutions. Um, Covianity is a religion. Prove me wrong. Uh, and Mercury in Virgo, Mercury retrograde in Virgo, bringing back something regarding health. Oh my goodness. All right, I want to see if there's any. I'm going to do a quick check of the asteroids that are happening, if there's any action in Virgo in that regard. Okay, so at 14:15 we have a fetus. I think that's a centaur. Aphidas. That makes me think of aphids. Aphids. I'm not sure about that one. So you could look it up if you want, or I'll talk about it when it happens. And Orcus. Orcus. Orcus was a god of the underworld, punisher of broken oaths in Etruscan and Roman mythology. As with Hades, the name of the god was also used for the underworld itself. So going back into the underworld, the hell realms, the lower astral. Eventually, he was conflated with Pater and Pluto. A temple to Orcus may once have existed on the Palatine Hill in Rome. It is likely that he was transliterated from the Greek daemon Horkos, the personification of oaths, and a son of Eris. Guess who Eris is, guys? Eris is the goddess of discord, and Eris is conjunct the North Node in Aries right now. Eris is also the name of the new Rona. Da, da, da. Interesting. See, I knew, I knew, I knew we would find something here. So, we'll have to talk about that in the next pop-up because I think that merits a discussion on its own. So, September 4th, September 6th, and August 30th all look very interesting. Make your plans, whatever it is that you see coming, and however you need to prepare mentally, physically, spiritually. Do it that weekend. Get her done. Because whether or not you want to lock down or slow down or follow the agenda, it's happening, and it's going to happen for other people, and other people are going to be all freaked out by it. So yeah, I don't know, check it out, whatever's going on. I just want to check one more thing. The asteroids in Gemini. Well, we do have Industria, Altagira, Arachne, Astraea. That's another health. Where's Hygeia? Wait, I know we looked at that before. Hygeia. Oh, yeah. Aquarius. Yeah. Hygeia and Astraea. So we're dealing with a health issue, of course. So watch to see what's announced, and that'll let you know what direction. Nothing to freak out about, because I know you guys are going to be doing your detoxes. Okay. So remember I told you about the moon being in the sign and what part of the body you could detox. If you want to do a lung detox, do it on September 5th, 6th, and 7th. Google 3-day lung detox. One herb that I know is really great for the lungs is mullein. Also, lobelia is very supportive, but mullein, you wouldn't believe it. It grows all over the place here in the Northeast as a weed, and that is one of the best things to detox your lungs. You can take it in capsule form, you can make a tea, you can even smoke it. Like, this is the only herb that I know of particularly that smoking it is actually okay for your lungs. The smoke of the mullein plant is good for your lungs. And it does have, I don't know if it's psychoactive effects, but people do put it in smoking blends that have like a relaxation sort of an effect. So that's a good thing if you want to detox your lungs, because this is going to be a lung-based thing, lung and throat, right? So if you want to get rid of extra mucus, cutting out things that are that promote mucus formation in the body, like dairy, big time, grains and meat during this time, and then take something that is supportive of detoxing your lungs. Castor oil packs are fantastic. Again, there's various herbs. You can do like make a tea and do steam inhalation. You can use the essential oils in hot water for steam inhalation. Do some deep breathing exercises. Anything you could do to strengthen the lungs, you're going to want to do it to counteract whatever's going on. I don't know what it is, but it will be aerosol based. Yeah. Yes, you want to definitely remove the irritants um, that can affect your lungs that are aerosol based. I won't go into that because I'll probably get a strike on it, but go on my Twitter. I tweeted something about it. You'll have to sift through, but there is something about it, and it relates to what I'm talking about here, but I can't talk about it. I'm not talking about it. All right, so there you go. Forewarned, forearmed. Clean out your lungs, do some good breathing exercises, take in some healthy aromas, and do yourself some good. There, rather than sitting here waiting to be sprayed like a bug, our bodies are made so that they can release toxins. But when we get overloaded because we're not cleaning ourselves out or our diet is bad or whatever, um, I think you can eat what you want if you take a break every once in a while and clean out. This is one of those times. It will be very important. And you will see the benefits. So there is no better time than now, from the full moon to the next new moon. It's a turning point, but you know, health is a spectrum, and we are either on a downward trajectory or an upward, and at any moment we can choose to do something positive that will counteract all the other negative stuff that's out there. So with that, I am going to thank my chat room being held up by Lynn and Pat the Elf talking about cookies. Always talking about cookies. Oh, Lynn, you use mullein too. Oh, that's awesome. Yep, I want to go out and harvest some mullein. Probably do that today or today and tomorrow, because when the moon is in an air sign, that's a good time to harvest anything leafy so that it doesn't mold, and do it before the full moon, because the energy rises up from the ground through the roots and reaches its peak around the full moon, and then the energy starts to go, the plant's focus starts to go back down to its roots. So harvesting above ground in the waxing moon is favored. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you guys for showing up. I love you. So you can follow me if you don't already. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, Facebook. If you're interested in booking a reading, I am very accessible. You can email me at astrolunachick@gmail.com, or you can private message me on, like, if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I've had people message me. You could do that, or you can use the Astro Lunachick hotline, which is 914-222-1231, and that is my call-in line for when I take live calls on the air. So make a note of it, put me on speed dial. That's a real phone number, so you can actually call up and leave a message, and you can text. So if you have questions, or if you want to, I don't know, something that you observed that correlates with what we're talking about on the podcast, or something you want me to look at, or a celebrity chart, or whatever, you can reach me at that number. And what else? Oh, don't forget to catch my not my live pre-recorded, live stream pre-recorded interview with Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange tomorrow at 9 p.m. Eastern and 6 p.m. Pacific. You can go to beyondthestrange.com for all the links of where Dave streams, or you can just come here on YouTube, and I'll be on YouTube in the chat so we can watch together, or we could listen together. And yeah, I'll be looking at Elon's chart. I found some really crazy stuff in his chart, and you won't want to miss it. So, TMZ, look out. Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I might be doing a pop-up tomorrow, but stay tuned for more to come. Ciao for now.